Folks, we are going to do some Eberron cover art, so give me a minute to make sure my signal's coming through clearly, and we're just gonna do some art for a couple hours here, see how that goes. So let's see. Okay, cool. So that comes through clearly. Hey, down in the description down below is my Twitter. I am attempting to post Twitter, and then the comments. Where did it go? Hold on, I'm trying to figure my stuff out. Reply below, and the reply is. Okay, cool. Got that figured out, and I am just hey, okay. So yeah, follow me on Twitter so you can see like I just posted now when I go live, and there's also we're building an adventure here for Eberron. Which is a campaign setting for Dungeons and Dragons that Keith Baker created. It's my favorite campaign setting, and it has been since its release in 3rd edition back in like 2005. So it's super cool. I've been running it as a space opera campaign setting where each of the nations is on its own free-floating asteroid, and I've been doing that since 4E. Because I got in, since 5E, I got into Numenera instead of getting into 5E initially. So I've always had this. Numenera is different. It is very in the moment. Future be damned. Burn your experience points now to buy boosts and perks. So if you survive that it. So you may walk away with nothing, but the only reason you were able to walk away at all is because you burned all of your experience points on like boosting rolls or gaining permanent favors or magic items that can help you. So, but it's also a very high super future techie sort of fantasy setting. So it's Numenera leaned itself well into the magic punk vibe that I was looking for in Eberron, and then once I got into the Numenera vibe, then it was very spaceships and laser pistol cowboy stuff, and that also felt very Eberron. So we kept that when we brought into 5e, and we just made Spelljammer rules and have been playing with them. What I've been streaming is not what I was using back in 2016. It was much simpler back then, but I've become more mechanically complicated as a developer, so that system is similarly more robust. So I am currently working on ideation here. I like all this early stuff, but it's I'm pretty much working in monochrome right now. I think I've got some. No, I don't have like any color other than this beam and stuff I got going on here. This is all very minimal color. So let's see. I've got all these backgrounds here. I'm just reminding myself where I'm at in the project. I've been overbooking myself recently. I had originally had a playtest scheduled for today, and my crew, I am so sorry, but I've been overbooked with getting the Spelljammer script finished and sent off for Ukulele Bard and Adam to give me some feedback about for next steps with them. And then I've got the Eberron project here that's in DM playtesting right now, but also I have art production for that, which I've been neglecting. And then there's the actual playtesting for the Descent into Avernus stuff that we've been doing for the larger command system that we've been developing here prior to episode 28. So I wanted to get back into Eberron. I needed some time in Eberron, and Saturday morning is quiet time for me. I have another hour and a half or so of quiet time in my world before I have to start thinking about my day. So I just wanted to get some groove on. So I'm gonna drop this. Maybe it looks better with nothing. Actually, yeah, that kind of looks more ominous. I'm into that. I'm going, nah, but I mean, yeah, okay. We'll leave that. That does make sense. We'll leave that. Let's see. The moon is good. I'm happy with him for now. And there's the beam on top. I need to do more with that. So that's where we'll start. I've got ideas about what I want the rest of the composition to be, but it's still brewing in my head. I just want to get into this space. I'm gonna disable this layer mask so I can. Let's just move the moon, shall we? Take the static with us. There we go. That's lined up proper. So yeah, we're just gonna futz around a bit. Oopie. Why is that so? Oh, I see what I did. Okay. Get out of here. Do. Am I right? Yes, I am. Fade that out a bit. Seems to be the easiest way to do it. I'm gonna have that. I need to have that darkness there to inform what's going on here. This is the symbol of Mabar. This wedge, like this two wedges with the slashes to it, makes me feel like it's an eyeball. Like these are like eyelashes, upper lower eyelashes, and like here's its pupil, and here's the eye, and here's the lid. That's how it's always read to me. So I've always had this eye. Like that evil is watching you, like it's like depicted as like the monsters underneath your bed sort of thing. So I always get the feeling of eyes lurking and staring from the shadows. Like that's like you don't know if that shadow leads to Mabar, and you don't know if that feeling you're feeling is a chain devil looking to Cenobite you. But that's just that's my take on it. So I want to make sure it's pretty iconic and easy for like deep lore Eberron enthusiasts which I am not, to recognize. I mean, if you're deeper into Eberron than I am, then you'll probably recognize what these things are. So like the dragon, like the dragon marks, you might not necessarily know which dragon mark is which, but when you see that art style, you know it's a dragon mark. Which was, I don't know who actually did that. The dragon mark art, it is amazing though. I am very just it's cool art, man. It is cool art. Look at that. There we go. Yeah, we'll leave that for now. I'm gonna have to be satisfied with it because I can. We're still in ideation phase, so I'm gonna let it go. I'm gonna grab some black. Let's see. What was the thoughts I was having? Shout out to Donut DM or Tyler, who hangs out here for the comment about having adventurers like at the center of this mess. So that made me start thinking about layering the different. There's 3 acts, and each act has different regions that the characters can opt in or out of. You automatically start in the default region at the beginning of the act by physically moving from one area of the map to the other. It triggers different events in different acts, although they're all kind of independent. But what I wanted to do, the idea that I had was to depict each act as a different frame around the end effect, which is the column of energy connecting with the moon of Mabar. So I was thinking something like building these frames so that there's a top and there's a bottom, and you don't necessarily see what's in the middle of it, but that kind of giving that layering effect. Like if I go with trees, for instance, I can do trees like this. I can do trees over here like this. I feel so bad that I overbooked myself because I was really looking forward to play testing this morning. But for me to have been able to play test this morning, I had to have gotten the DM prep done, which I was supposed to do on Thursday, which I couldn't do because I needed to finish the script to the Spelljammer combat and exploration mechanics, so I could hand that off for Adam and Ukulele Bard to take a look at. So I ended up being pinched out of about 5-7 hours worth of production time that I just mismanaged, and that means that 5 to 7 hours has to get sacrificed someplace, and that ends up being the prep, which ends up being the game. So that's 14 hours that I freed up. So I ate most of that, finishing the first draft, and then I have some hours left over. So I am back at it into Eberron. The Eberron adventure is effectively it's written. It still has to go through edits, and we've got some DMs that have volunteered to playtest the adventure to make sure that it's all reading. We've ran a number of Eberron, a number of adventures with us DMing, but that was we need to hand it off to an actual other DMs for them to look at and make sure they grok how it reads, right? I mean, presenting the adventure, like running someone through the adventure, is different from handing them an adventure to run. So we are cleaning up the text and other stuff, like the language of the documents, and fixing any logic errors and stuff while that playtesting is being done. So if they come back with this doesn't make sense, this doesn't make sense, this doesn't make sense, then we can resolve what doesn't make sense and fold that into the grammatical editing process. So easy peasy. So let's see. So here I am. I had some time left over, and that means I get to work on a book cover, because that's the thing that we're working on right now. Once a book cover, if I do the book cover, I've done a lot of mapping. Actually, I need to be doing some mapping right now. I just really wanted to do some book cover work. So I'll do mapping later on today off stream. But yeah, once the book cover is done, there's that really just folds everything in behind it. Like the cover is the most difficult part, and I've been playing with a lot of different more graphic illustration effects versus heavy illustration work, which has been fun. But I'm really intrigued by the AI stuff that's happening. I know there's a couple different versions out there, but it seems like you can integrate your own artwork into the generation stuff. So I am interested in like getting this far and then like letting it ideate off of that, or like can I paint a rough rendering of a Star Moth ship from Spelljammer, and then have it blend with different insect artwork to create something modeled roughly in the style that I presented as. Like, is it capable of being that complicated? And what would be the descriptive words that I would need to do to be able to lock in like the style that I want, so it can be consistently present throughout all the different images that are ideated, that are rendered. But I mean, I think some of these things are like $30 a month, and that's like, wow, that's ridiculously affordable for me to have my own, have my own renderings. That's I'm pretty good with that. So that's something I plan on diving into here when I have a little bit more time, and see if that helps expedite some of the detail work that I've begrown. And once the idea is on the page, it's like, yeah, this is what I want to do. Then it's just a fight of like, how much time do I have to spend on grinding out details for this to look at a level of quality that I'm content with, versus this thing is done, here, render this. Like that is really where I would love to. I know that's where this technology is going to get, and that will be amazing. Like, people are like, what's going to happen to artists and shit? It's like, we are going to blow the hell up. Like, can you imagine locking down an art style for yourself, and then like, say, taking a 6-page comic book where you are loose sketching, using the loose sketching language that you've already developed with your own particular meta tagging. So you have like your meta style. So you have your meta style loaded into your render system, and you then panel out you panel out a page of someone being in an argument that leads to drawing weapons, right? So you've got like, say, 1, 2, 3, you got 6 panels to go from the beginning of that conversation to the end of that conversation. You can quickly sketch out the poses and the objects that you want in the room to be focused on, and then have it ideate each of those panels multiple times to come up with the most interesting, consistent throughout all panels look to what that page comes out as. So you can ideate different page panels, you can ideate different inside of each panel, the pages themselves, and then in the word bubbles, you can have the text of like the rough, like the beats that you want to hit with the people's names, the places, the energy, the emotions that are involved, and you can meta tag each of the emotions that are inside of that bubble. And then you can just have it fab with the image where to lay out the bubbles with the text that it think makes the most sense in the space available with the emotional impact that you want. Like, that's a comic book. You will be able to do that, render the artwork and the script out of it, and just basically flip through. It's like, yeah, I like the tone on that. But then, of course, you can go and you can just manually override that anytime you want. But the artwork is more difficult to override. So that's why you want to make sure you have like that's why I think meta style tags is going to be important. Like, having your own unique look that you can build into the metadata of rendering, so that it has that consistent look. So when you go in and you tamper with it, it looks like something that you would have tampered with. So it blends in with the overall piece because it's you. It's just computer generated versions of you. So that's where I'm hoping this technology is going. And I doubt it's there right now, but I am curious if it's already serviceable or not. So yeah, so that's where I'm at in that process. I'm going to spend some time with some AI sometime soon and see if how well does it deal with like sketches and stuff like that. So it might end up changing my mind about my art processes in general. So let's see. You've got the final battle is dealing with this thing in here. This. Am I on screen? Hi. Let's stay on screen there, Kearney. If you're leaning in that much, it probably means you're not zoomed in enough. So let's get on top of that. Yeah, also in the description below, there is the link to monochromatism, which is being fully colorblind, which is me. So I don't see any color. So I sample colors from illustrations and photos and whatever images. I grab images online. I drop them here into Photoshop. I color sample off of them, going by the amount of light and darkness that I want. Knowing with the little side rule over here that, like, for instance, I'm in black right now, but this should be green. Yeah, it's a little bit green. So I can tell from over here how intense, like, what the color saturation is like. Like, it's a very low color saturation, but I don't have anything like this. Is the most saturated on screen that I have right now, because there's more of a difference between the blue and the green than anywhere else on the screen. That means there's a higher color spike. So I can verify what I can verify what color I'm working with if I don't recognize the array, like the ratios of these three things together. If I don't recognize what that ratio is, I can go online and I can hunt for other things that feel like they have a similar color ratio when I look at them. But I always paint by contrast. So since I only see black and white, the only tool I have available to me is operating in black and white. So I try to use that to my advantage as much as I can to build high contrast pieces. So high contrast pieces, when you're looking at a thumbnail on a, let's go visit the wall. Hold on real quick. I'll go visit the wall. Yeah, we're gonna log out and let me dance on over here. All right, Dungeon Masters Guild. So this is the site, right? This is the size that I look at them at. Like, this is the amount of resolution that I have. Ooh, neat, Spelljammer trinkets. Ah, there's a ton of cool Spelljammer stuff that's coming out. I'm excited about that. Wayne Strahd, Escape the Labyrinth. Okay, nothing's doing what I'm doing yet, so I'm pretty happy about that. Okay, so this is like the level of familiarity, right? So. Here and here. Looks like they're using a different book cover size than I am. Hey, that's great. That means I have a little bit more space on the sides. Copy that. Am I really building this in a different size? That's lined up on the top there. See? Lined up there. Down here, though. Move on this side. About the same size, about the same width. So I got that right. Okay, well, obviously something's changed in my world. This is too tall, so that just means I need to make it wider. So I'm going to drop into here. But the point we were making is that this is your image space. This is the area I have to get your attention with whatever it is that I've got going on. This is the most important part right here. If I can get you to click on this so that you're interested in it, then it takes me into the products. So we can start looking at stuff. That is our goal. All right, so back at it. Apparently, I need to change the cover. I need to change this cover. That kind of blows my mind. There we go. So what we'll do next is we'll go to image and then we'll go to canvas size and then pixels. Let's go with there we go. Nice. Bought ourselves a little bit of extra space. I am happy about that. Now I've got more. Now I've got more room to frame. Leave that like that. Like that. So you start in a forest, and then you find a facility. When you go into the facility, you find the ritual being performed in this chrysalis sort of thing. So that's the progression there. The idea here is to frame the image in tree stuff. That's probably not the right color, but this is where we're at right now. No, that's not the right color. I'll do this. Oh yeah, that's what I needed to do. Thank you. I need to get the... We'll start there. Let's go with white. This is not the right font, I know. But right now we're just trying to make sure it fits. God, that extra width is actually freaking fantastic. Yeesh. I'm just looking at spacing right now. These are probably going to end up being red. But I wanted to have the start of a conversation here about what these things are going to be. So let's go with text. How tall and thin do I need these letters to be? Like if I can get the ratio right, so like the letters kind of curve out, then I can go in and I can paint them smarter, you know, like not so crappy. But it doesn't matter right now because I'm still trying to figure out like what's my ratio. Like if it fills up that much space, doesn't look good, equals no. So let's make it smaller. And then that helps us decide what our frame looks like, right? So this is kind of blocking right now. Warp. So we got another hour. We'll start there and then we'll go here. We called it oh, maybe I can be a little bit more relaxed than that about how this thing's going, so we can like do like that. that. I almost like that font. That's so crap. So we're not going to keep that, but I do want to keep reference to it. Free transform, and then here we'll go into warping. Felt right. And I think that space is good, and I kind of like how some of those letters are sitting, honestly. So I can probably build a decent font from that, but it's not quite curving where I need it to curve yet. So let's go with free transform and then warp. But this will be a fun. This will be a good enough for now model for the thing to just sit with. That. Oh, that looks pretty good. I'll have to skew that. I'm actually kind of enjoying this. That's kind of cool. Why are we not being friendly? Thank you. Yeah, not as smooth a curve. That feels better. Okay, that's pretty on point. No longer on point. Okay, so let's switch that over a bit. Nice. Okay, great. Cool. Okay, so that is the size that we're truly working with, which is 6.69%. That should be pretty easy to remember, 6.69. So this is the actual field area that we have to work with in the image to get someone to buy, or to open it up and at least look at it, right? go to 6.69 reference. Cool. So that's the area we have. That's where we have to figure out like. Oh, that's super cool. Because like if you pan out, you can see the eye. Like here's the top of the eye, here's the bottom of the eye, and then here's the actual eyeball that's looking at you. That's sick. Are you kidding me? That is sick. Okay. So yeah, this is definitely how we have to do this. So, oh my god, that's sick. So let's duplicate this layer on, and we'll figure out what the right font is supposed to be for this, or we'll take more time to build out that font properly. But just for now, we are trying to take this down so it's level with the center. Oh, I'm really sinking into that screen, ain't I? I'll leave that be for now. But yeah, that's the kind of framing that I was talking about. So we'll play with color and then we'll play with font. Make sure we like how it's all. Man, I'm digging that framing though. I'm digging that frame. So let's go find a Moonlit Tree. So we're gonna go find a Moonlit Tree. Some illustrations there, and then steal them so that we know what things might look like. This might be a good one. Like I literally can't tell if that's black or like super dark green right now. So I'm gonna copy that image and then bring it in. Oh, there is some green going on in there, isn't there? No, that's blue. So that's sky. So don't get confused. Don't let it fool you. That blue, oh, I get it. That blue is saturating through because of the lighting. Oh, interesting. Interesting. All right, so let's grab another picture to make sure that there's consistency. How about this? It's also got a blue going on. Mabar isn't blue, it's gray, so it makes sense that I'd have a lot of grayness going on, but I want to have at least a little bit of green. All right. Interesting. All right, cool. So let's go with that. And the way we'll go with that is by grabbing ourselves a brush, one of our Bob Ross brushes, and then I built. You can look my name up on DeviantArt, and there is a ton of Bob Ross reproductions that I built in Photoshop because I got pretty good about being able to duplicate Bob Ross's work in Photoshop. I took it to their company. They weren't very interested. You can't really sell any paint if everyone's doing it digitally, so they weren't really interested. And I'm kind of embarrassed I didn't think about that. But anyway, so no sponsorship. I know that there's a community on Reddit of Bob Ross enthusiasts, and some of them are digital painters as well. It's cool to bump across those cats now and again, but I haven't done. I stopped after I think 125 Bob Ross paintings. So, and then I just started like, yeah, I get how this works, and then I started doing my own. So, but yeah, the foliage still. But yeah, he just does block prints with different colors. So he uses the stippling of the brush similar to how like Japanese block print paintings are built, and that he is using the pressure and the tapping to create little patterns, just like I'm building here. Like I can use an eraser to get rid of them as well as fill them in, so I can work in both the positive and the negative space, where he only has the ability to work in the positive space because he can only add paint. You can't take it away. So we've got tools that allow us to take it away. So we can double the layering. You can have another layer of color underneath this one, and it looks like you can manipulate shadows and depth that way by manipulating like the different saturation and brightness of the colors that you're working with. So that's a technical thing. Like, you know, I have to believe it works. I can't tell. I just know the math, and I know how to translate the math into mechanics through the Photoshop So, and it's people tell me it looks cool, so that's good enough for me. Go back through, and I can start erasing. In, I can erase it. And then you can see I can, here's what the brush actually looks like. It's a hot mess. But when you zoom it down really small like this, then it does little, too big. When you zoom it around really small, it just looks like little, it's just little textury things, right? So I actually like a lot of this. So I want to grab that. There we go. Through and just erase some of it. Ease down. I can drop the opacity on the eraser, so it just takes. So it's just taking chunks out. Zoom back out to the 6 point whatever %. That's close enough. So yeah, I know I need to build up the. I know I need to create more pop along this ridge here. If I'm going to want this to appear as an eye at this 6 point. You can do down to the right 6 point. There we go. 7.6 is good enough. Like you can barely see the line effect that we're going for, so I'll need to go in and I'll need to have a stronger light, probably like a highlight using the same highlight here to be able to get that message across. So let's do that. Oh, this is a sharp green. That's so grand. So we're going to build a new layer here. We're going to grab a different brush. We're going to grab this. This is a really good Bob Ross brush because you can do things like this. Then you can come at it from a different direction to erase it. To create really interesting visual effects. Super easy. So we're going to zoom this down to a ridiculously small size. And we're going to drop the opacity down to 30% so it's not so sharp. We're just going to layer stuff in like that. Literally just like Bob Ross would. And we got we're going to go up to 70 on the eraser so that we can take away more easily than we add. God, I'm digging this. Thematically, I mean, like as like a movie poster sort of thing, I'm pretty happy with this so far. Like, I feel this has definitely been worth the time invested on it. And again, thanks to my playtest team for being champions about me punting them this weekend. I really just needed to invest time on this. Andy and Stuart have been very supportive of the effort. So I'm going to make sure that I am literally showing them that, you know, this is a project that I'm involved in. The Spelljammer thing, just I had been running the command project parallel to the development of this Eberron adventure, and I feel conflicted about both of them. So I've scaled back the command project specifically right now to just resolving Spelljammer as a smaller component of the larger overall project, so that I'm only juggling my time between Spelljammer and the Eberron development. And thankfully, the Eberron project is under DM scrutiny right now, so I don't have any pressing text that I need to resolve right now. And the Spelljammer project I handed off to Mabar and Adam last night. So that means I don't have, other than martial powers that I do on Mondays during my lunch stream, definitely like and subscribe so that you can catch wind of when I'm up and running and see the development streams that I run. Because I've been doing the martial powers project of creating a consistent mana language across all 13 classes. And right now we're working on the martial classes, like replacing Eldritch Knight and Arcane Trickster, Ranger, Paladin, Artificer, Warlock, swapping out some or all of their spell mechanics with martial powers, which are mana and like instant. They're like imagine it's the martial power project is building off of the 5-color mana system that I've been developing. And if you check down the link below, there's a link to the 5-color mana MTG color mana system that I built for 5e to use with Ravnica and Theros and Strixhaven. But I use it in my Eberron campaign because color is awesome. Using color to describe your magic and only having 5 colors to do it with is really versatile, and it makes really great narrative communication language about like what sort of things are the characters encountering. I'm gonna take that cloud back. I intended to drop in some black here. That stuff in there. Yeah, so the martial powers is a like if you're so it's based off of MTG. So the stuff in these books is inspired by MTG mechanics and class and cards and stuff. So there's the card game has instant effects, like sorcery spells you can cast on your turn, and they're like bigger spells. They're like rituals and stuff that you perform during your day. But instant spells can be cast on other people's turns. Like it's like in D&D, it's like a reaction to cast counter spell or silvery barbs or whatever else it is that you're into. You're going to do a reaction basically, or it can be like I guess you could also consider it like a bonus action. But to really be a reaction, what these things does is like if you roll a die, you can spend mana to pump the effect of whatever it is that you're doing. And that is a very Magic the Gathering idea. Beyond the instant spells, cards, each character or creature or object or location that's depicted on these cards have their own mechanics. Like if you pump 3 mana, like if you add 3 mana to if you just burn 3 mana, like you've got all this mana, if you just spend 3 of it while this card is available, like you can make your goblins twice as strong as they're written as being. So like you have all these like different kits of these decks of cards that you build to create different kind of creatures, locations, and objects for the creatures to use to attack the enemy army with, or your opponents, whether they build an army or construct a bunch of artifacts and automaton creatures like Warforged creatures that they can use against you. But the different card effects is like there's enchantments that affect the whole, like have an area of effect that the size of the battle, so everybody inside of that is afflicted with this like disadvantage on attack rolls unless you're a goblin, for instance. While you're fighting a goblin army, it's like, oh, that sucks. Like, that's the kind of stuff that these things are designed to do. So the Martial Powers project, hold on, I'm gonna grab these, and then I think I want to grab this. That. Cut that out. Cut that out. Get rid of that stuff. And grab all this. I can duplicate that group, and then I can merge it into a single group. So then I can come through and I can duplicate the layer, grab this foliage brush, and erase along these edges a little bit, trim them down a little bit. This is just erase stippling, right? Everything that Bob Ross does is either like smudging paint like that, or is deleting or adding as block prints. Like, those are the only three things that he does. So he either smudges, adds, or subtracts. That's it. That. Yeah, 6.9, that's the right size. That's starting to look a little better. We'll call this treetops. But that's good enough for now that we can keep moving. So let's just keep moving. I'm gonna grab my cloud brush. Blend this together. This brush is a weird shape here. I'll do this real quick here. We'll go to 100% and let's see if I can get a. Okay, so you can see I just put that blot down there. See, these edges are frayed. There's a gap here. There's a gap here. There's like a lighter, like a mildly darker splotch here. You see, it's transparent. There's like little blotches of transparency inside of here, because it's a large cluster of semi-transparent blotches that I just smudged over each other at like 0.5%. I smudged over them and then I blended them enough for them to become a single paintbrush. But I use that paintbrush to smudge, so it has all those different levels of opacity, so I can get a really good smudge effect with it. At different opacities, I can turn the brush in different directions and get different sort of intensity effects. So I can curve it smoother along here to get rid of those edges, or I can have the more vertical side to make it sharper, so I can manipulate the type of clouds and how it interacts with the environment that way. So that's just that, but that's like one of the that duplicates the tap and like the brush tapping effect that Bob does, like when he's dispersing clouds. See, I can do the same thing, because I'm not going to, I need to get that opacity down a bit. See, when I can, if I keep spinning the brush, it's never going to land in the same spot. So it's always at a little bit of a different angle. So, and then it's going to get pulled. And that pull is what makes the fluffiness of the cloud there, you see? So I can keep changing the waftiness of the cloud by rotating my brush, and I can steer the cloud while I'm tapping to be able to create that. It's a fractally random effect. So there's like, since it's the same brush that's just permutating in different ways, there is a natural, I think there's like an intuitive understanding that it's the same mass, like it's the same object because it's using the same texture fractal language. I think the brain picks up on that stuff. So it's something I try to incorporate, that scale. I mean, considering the command project and the Spelljammer stuff I've been doing, scaling is obviously something that I've always been into. So, but building a dynamic fractal system that allows you to scale in and out, that is just such an intrinsic part of nature. Like if the math works, then just make it bigger and smaller. So, which is what boggles my mind, that we don't have an agreement about what the unifying theory of quantum versus macro. I guess just the math doesn't line up or something somehow. So that's, I mean, I'm no quantum physicist, so I don't understand. But I guess that's what all this quantum reality super collider research is all about, is trying to verify what the I guess what the scale ratio is. It wouldn't surprise me if it wasn't phi, but I mean, that's just because I'm a coincidentalist by nature. But I guess they're doing all those experiments to try to verify what common ratio exists between big matter stuff, star systems, and the micro stuff. Like we're in that space in between. Maybe physics are consistent between the larger universe and atoms, but it isn't. But those rules don't apply to humans at our scale. Like, wouldn't that be a bitch? Like, you can do quantum and astrophysics, that all works, but don't count on it for throwing a baseball, which would tell me that that's like not a consistent system. You can't scale that up forever. So. I got another 20 minutes left. I'm gonna put a timer on. But I hope you guys are seeing where I'm going with this thing, if this is making sense. So, yeah, we're gonna do the page layouts for this adventure. All the page layouts. We've been doing all the maps in the previous 40 episodes. Interior art. I'm still locking down a style that I want to go with. So I need to spend some time. With the AI stuff, I need to spend like a week or two with AI to see if I like how it iterates stuff. You know, like is it something I can use? I could definitely use it in generating backgrounds for Spelljammer space. That wouldn't be a big issue. But it's easy for me to do that anyway. You know, I can, you know. Like, that's not really saving me a lot of time. By the time I get done monkeying around with the meta tags to get what I want, I probably could have just painted it. And that's going to be the real thing. It's like, is this worth my time investing in to get the results that I have? If it produces well rendered results that I can build off of my own work, I would call that something I can be proud of. That's exciting to me. And I think that's something I'll probably get good at. It just feels like, I don't know, maybe describe, maybe that's where describe is going. That text rendering service that is promoted by all these how to DM channels. Like they're all like, subscribe to Describe and get this text blurb. I bet they're dabbling with AI stuff as well. I don't know much about them, but that just seems like the sort of thing that you'd want to do. So Describe is probably working in the like they're probably working on random generating adventures and stuff like that right now. I mean, I could see with the Unreal Engine coming out with D&D 1, I could seriously see random generated dungeons being built inside that Unreal Engine on the fly. Like, hey, I need a dungeon tonight, and then it gets created. But that's really, it almost feels like they're, you can eliminate, doing that, you can basically create a, what was the name of that game, that board game that plays like D&D, and like you have like you can unlock characters at some point. Hey man, cast Skywrite. It might be easier to make them clouds. Lols. Hey man, I didn't see you come in. Yeah, I needed to catch up on artwork. That's why I couldn't do any playtesting this weekend. And Thursday, obviously, I had to finish building out the Spelljammer thing. So that's this Thursday. Between now and Thursday, I'll be able to get the playtest content for the Sentence Avernus build. And then we'll be clear to playtest that 12th level. We're going to, I believe the playtest, as it's panning out right now, the playtest is going to be, the team has gotten the Hell Wasps, so they can now give their Infernal War Machines wings, so we can start basically test piloting or testing the fighter pilot mechanics. So if a Spelljammer ship takes like a Hammerhead ship is like 250 feet long, so it's a 5x5 space. At the 50-foot square, it's 250 foot by 250 foot. But one of those demon grinders is only a 20 foot, 15 feet wide, 20 feet long. So you can fit like 5 of them inside of one of those 50-foot spaces on the deck of that Hammerhead ship. So the underside of the ship is completely unused, right? On a lot of these ships, it's just empty space. That's where you clip all your fighter ships to. So you just got a bunch of demon grinders and tormentors down there that have wasp wings attached to them, and you give them the unnatural nature Spelljammer feature, and now you have these 20 foot by 20 foot squares that can buzz around. The larger, like a nautiloid ship, is like 150 feet long and like 50 feet wide. So it fills a 150 by 150 foot space in a 500 foot footprint. Like that's how big its oxygen space goes. It fills that 500 foot space, but the ship itself is only filling 150 feet of it. That's a lot of empty space around you that, you know, other ships can come in and try to skew gravity and stuff like that. But you could also take like these tiny like little 15 foot by 15 foot tormentors and give them wings and have them be little shuttle ships that go between the larger ships, or you give them guns, and you can't use siege weapons to hit siege crew because they have cover from the siege weapon itself. So you have to attack them with 5-foot scale weapons. So you have fighter ships that can come in and shoot the crew, so there's no crew to fire that weapon. So you're disabling the ship's abilities. Its rate of fire gets slowed down by shooting all their crew. So you build little tormentors with wings that can flit from your Hammerhead ship over to a Star Moth and take out their ballista and take out their mandolin. And the only crew they have left is their pilot, their commander, and their augur, and any support crew that they have. So you can just brat their field with like harpoon throwers that they have on the back of the Tormentors, but they're small enough that they can fit inside of one of those 50-foot squares as just a little buzz ship that flits around and kicks across the deck, and wherever the weapons are in each 50-foot square, that's what your fighter ship is going to get. Like there's turrets on the ship, like Battlestar Galactica and like Star Wars and stuff. You got a TIE fighter that's trying to take out a turret on one of the like rebel carrier ships, and if you can take out all the weapons, then you can start actually trashing the ship because you can't get fired at. So that's there, you know, anyway. And then you can just jump off the Tormentor onto the deck and, you know, pull your sword and just start stabbing fools. So you have something more to do with that 5-foot space, interaction space, by having flying infernal machines. So this weekend, the plan is to set the city of El Terrell as the dungeon setting, the terrain where you guys will be taking these Tormentors and flying around in the city to take out squads of demons that are trying to lock down the city. Each of the chains, and there's 8 chains, so there's 8 squads that you have to eliminate, and if you can tear through all the squads, then you can break off all the chains on the city. Now it's free floating, and you can beseech the gods or whoever to help lift it back up into the prime material plane and save, you know, win Descent into Avernus. But then, you know, if you're able to break all the chains, then Zariel has to make a last-ditch effort to try to stop you from succeeding. So she'll come at you with her army in her spelljammer, her giant scimitar-shaped spelljammer, and just try to cleave through your forces, the city, whatever it is that she needs to do to make everything get dunked. And she'll be right there, so she can pull in the souls if she dunks the city. So all she has to do is knock out your control, and then the city drops, and then she can start sucking in the souls, and then she can overpower the blood war. So like that's perfect timing for her. It was time for her to dunk the city anyway. So it's not under her control, but she's smart and adaptive, so she just takes it, right? So that's kind of what I'm thinking. That's how that playtest is going to go. So you guys are going to have squads of flying infernal war machines that you can zub around inside of the city, and different buildings will be obstacles that you can maneuver around that'll take up, you know, like equal amount of spaces on the square as your squadrons are. So like operating at the 50-foot scale. So there'll be blocks of building at the 50-foot scale. And yeah, anyway, that's where playtesting should go next week, and that'll be 12th level. So after that, that looks good. And then after that, we'll bump to 15th level and do the final Zariel fight. But everything seems to be curving out really well. So anyway, sorry, I'm talking about Spelljammer again, and this is my Eberron stream, so I need to stay in my lane. My gut's telling me that's not the right way to do this. Yeah, like that. And I'll do this while I'm thinking about it. Where's my square? There, then we'll grab this one and kick over here. We'll this layer. That a little like that. Here, Olympus. I'm digging this groove, man. I'm liking some of this music. This is Epidemic, Epidemic Radio. Where'd that guy go? There we go. Down in my lower corner here, as usual. Oh my god, that's horrible, Tyler. Great timing though, huh? I always feel so bad when I make a change. It's because I'm so reliant on buses. So I'm always like super paranoid about time. And 1 second, I got lost. There we go. All right, all is well. So I'm like super manic about time and keeping time and being on time and being early. It's a problem. It is a problem I have. A little bit more. Yeah, that feels pretty good. I got like maybe 10 minutes left, so that'll be it for my day. Oops, I'm gonna grab all these. Teeth. Oh god, that lines up so nice. God, that is so choice. Oh, that is just good. All right, so now we get back to where we were. Actually, there we go. Now we're back into this. This is that large fog theme throughout the adventure. I don't know. Hey, Tyler, what do you think, man? Crystals of Mabar or Eye of Mabar? You've been some playtesting, and thank you so much for that. Because we've been going with Crystals of Mabar, but as the adventure had been evolving, it's less about the crystals, but the eye remains the same. So, is Crystals of Mabar or Eye of Mabar sound like a more compelling title? Because I can still change it. It's not published yet. But I will have to go through and change all my YouTube titles. I'm fine with that. Go back to the 7.5 is pretty close to where we're supposed to be. go with that. Oh god, that's looking so fun. Whew, man, oh man, I need to build those cheat sheets for the command mechanics. I tell you what, man, I keep talking about Spelljammer. I'm so excited about that. That will probably publish before this does. So that's just the timing of it and the everything. So that is really on my mind. But yeah, the squad mechanics for controlling characters, controlling different creatures in squads has gotten a really interesting change in perspective by building out ships at such a large scale to see how simple it can actually be. And so that allows us an opportunity to go back and revisit, well, how simple can we make commanding 50 guys or 20 guys or 10 guys? What can we learn from the Spelljammer project that will make commanding summons and hirelings and packs of dogs and stuff that much easier for both DMs and players as a result? I mean, what we have is a really technical document that is very, very open, but it doesn't necessarily need to be so open. Like, I think we could probably just build out language for different size squads. Like, if your squad is large, huge, or gargantuan, this is what that does. And if you want to have multiple gargantuan squads inside of a 50-foot scale, you can do that. Just target everything inside that 50-foot scale. And then if you want to have more than what can fit inside of a 50-foot scale, then scale out to a 500-foot scale, or just have multiple 50-foot scales that you can control as you span out. Because like the Spelljammer taught us that that you don't have to have size limits based on your character level, because the ships are so big, they balance themselves, and the mechanics that we found for the guns, for the siege weapons, showed us that you can just dumb down the crew to only be as good as the commander. So if you've got a Marilith, a CR-14 creature that's under command of a second level character, that Marilith is phoning it in. She's not going to be doing the high octane crap that you would expect her to. She's so your DM's like, is it narratively accurate for me to give a second level character Marilith to command an army? If the answer is no, then you don't have to dumb them down. Just give them some ogres and just have those ogres dumbed down a little bit to what a second level, like a first rank creature would be, flavored as an ogre, and that's the best you can get out of them. If you want to get better performance, you have to invest more actions as a team to get that ogre to do more for you. But that ogre can do more than your second level bard can do right now. So the bard can lay down a support spell to buff up the ogre, and then make the ogre go do with inspiration, action, economy, and commands. So that's essentially what we're doing with Spelljammer ships right now. And that's how we're treating squadrons, and that's how we're treating each individual siege weapon on ships. So we can further grind that down to that's how we treat individual vehicles that you're controlling inside of a 50-foot square, like the Hell Machines, as well as troops of characters. A troop of characters of the size of a demon grinder. So you can control that crew of people the same as you can control the vehicle. It's just, is there a vehicle or isn't there? That's going to determine how fast they can go. That's the only change. So then you have that distance by scaling that is important. So this is ultimately going to be a much simpler system to implement for anybody that wants to have, grab a crew of 15 villagers to go fight that ogre over there. Or like, we need to chase off that manticore. Let's get 10 archers on horses and go hunt that guy down and find where his lair is. And I need like 3 or 4 of you guys to come with me and climb up the cliffs to get to that manticore's lair so we can stab it to death. and and the rest of you archers down there, if the manticore takes flight, start shooting at us, so we can maybe like burn out its nest or like trap it. It's like it snares it, so when it eventually goes back, maybe we can catch it, and then we can all come back as a squad again and beat it up. Like that's a fun first, second level adventure to have, like, you know, chasing down a manticore like that. That's pretty cool stuff. Like I could build that into an adventure, like a little one-shot adventure for first level characters. Maybe I could drop it into Fandelver someplace, and market it as like a Fandelver side quest sort of thing. But that's the cool kind of stuff we can do with these command mechanics. So like you got like 20, you got squads of 20 soldiers that are running around inside the Crystals Mabar, helping the Emerald Claw defend their territory while they try to complete the ritual. Like you could build squad combat with that. If the villagers are still in town in Act 1, you could rally them together into a pitchfork militia, and then head into the woods and start attacking larger scale groups of monsters. Like you don't run across, you know, 2 or 3 sturge. You run across like 7 Yeth hounds or whatever. And so you can scale up the encounters. And now if you want to go down into the bunker, you have to bring a squad to fight through all the troops that the Emerald Claw brought to prevent something like this from happening at the last hour. It happens to be the last hour right now, so we really got to do this. So if you can flood the tunnel with troops and fight your way through all of them to get to the crystal here, through all the tunnels and stuff, then you can win the day. So we could easily convert this into a squad commando campaign instead of a infiltration campaign, like with a couple of characters as infiltration, with a lot of a militia. Like if you use the sheriff plot hook, for example, maybe he has a posse that he gives you for you to go investigate with. Like you've gotten reports that this is something that exists and it has to be dealt with now, so you can start with a squad of like 16 deputies, and you're the sheriff, and now you go through the woods and you have to fight zombies and stuff, and the Emerald Claw shows up commanding the zombies, and you can fight through all those. And now there's the fortresses, they're organized, there's walls and stuff that they can use to defend themselves. So they have you have to siege them at either the underwater, the underwater passage. There's like 20 there's like 20 ghouls and like 30 drowned assassins down in there. So you could have to take a squad to try to fish them out of the water and fight them in the tunnels before you encounter the blast doors that are lowered. So you have to send a team up the hatch to do an infiltration mission to go back down and open and get the thing open. So you can do stuff like that. That would be super fun. I would love to, once this publishes, man, I would love to rebuild it as a combat squad encounter game. That would be so freaking cool. Anyway, end of statement. Oh, it's 11:33. I think it's about time for me to cut stream, but the next thing we'll do, I think what we want to do is let's go back out to that's about the size that we want to be at. So I think the next thing we're going to need to do is probably layer in probably like make a forest. I think it's probably the next thing that's going to happen. So we're going to have to how do we do that? I'm just going to borrow a moment of time here before I belt. I bet I could texture stuff like that in. I bet that would work. Like this. Yes. Yes, much like that. That, and then here, maybe we get rid of that frame. So we have more creative space open to us. And then let's go back to here. And maybe something like I feel like I need to do, oh yeah, there needs to be characters. That's what we need. We need characters in here somewhere. Stupid characters. You know what? Characters are the worst thing that ever happened to a plot line, so don't have one as a DM. That's my DM advice. Don't have a plot line, have goals. Everything in your game has goals, and they want to achieve it. Either being left alone, or get something, or get away from something. Everyone's got a goal. As long as you know what everyone's goals are, and you know what they're willing to do to achieve that goal, characters can do pretty much anything they damn well please. And it's going to be fine, because you may just need a few moments of rendering time for you to assess how would things that favor or oppose the goals of the characters, what would they do, and then spool out from there. So, but this is me being done. So I'm going to cut stream for now, and I will be back on Monday. I'll catch you guys then. So later, Gators.